Hello, all. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late here. I was getting all my show notes together. Hopefully, everyone's having a fantastic day. It is Thursday, May 22nd. I would say it's a beautiful day. The sun's peeking out here in Chicago. It was a little rainy earlier, a little cold. It's funny. I live downtown in Chicago, and I was on the elevator earlier, and it seems like whenever you're on the elevator, the weather is like the number one thing that people bring up. I don't know. It's like the easiest topic, I guess. And well, it's better than like being in dead silence, I suppose. Like it's kind of awkward. But this woman, she's like, man, the weather's just horrible today. It's like the first thing in the morning. I'm like, well, a month or two ago, it would have been ice or snow. So we're fortunate from that perspective. She's like, you know what? You're right. Tell you what, it's all about perspective. All about perspective. How's everybody doing today? We got a lot of people popping in already. I like to see it. Make sure to shoot some comments out. Appreciate you all. Make sure to give it a like, share it, follow me on X and YouTube. You know what? I wanted to give a shout out today before I get to my quote of the day to one of the community members that always tends to comment on my videos. Always very thoughtful comments, I should add. Let me find this real quick. So I've got a lot of stuff open today to cover with y'all. There we go. So this is one of the community members. One of my subscribers always comments on my videos. Stash 186. Before get your mind in the gutter there, by the way, this is it's a real bush. Okay, it's a plant. Let's see where you guys are looking. Anyway. So if you've been watching my live streams recently, I just want to call out a couple of things. So, I talked about earlier this week how maybe the trip to the Middle East and some of that funding was going to go to buying our treasuries. He's like, nah, I don't think so. And I'll tell you what, Stash, you're probably right. That's kind of a hot take on my part. I think I'm the only one that's been saying that. And went on to say that actually he sees that Saudi buying bonds as more of a misallocation of money. The other thing, they talked about the stablecoin bill and how stablecoin issuers could be the largest treasury holders and within 5 years. He says, maybe within 10 years. So I feel that. I feel that the other one, Stash commented on, I was on with Tyler with Unleashing DePIN. We were talking about the power outage in Spain. And I was like, maybe it's a nefarious actor. It wasn't a nefarious actor if you exclude their own politicians. So it's more so that they basically shut down all of their traditional energy sources, moved over to renewables right away, and essentially is causing issues for them. And it sounds like they are shutting down their nukes as well, which is their nuclear facilities, power facilities. We're seeing quite the opposite in a lot of other countries around the world. And there's a lot of people saying we might have a resurgence in nuclear. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I wouldn't be surprised. We're seeing it in China. We're seeing a lot of other countries. There's talk about the U.S. possibly bringing back nuclear. The power needs as AI continues to develop are going to be massive, massive. One other thing I want to call out, by the way. So for those of you that watch the live stream, I am going to, I have it broken into 4 sections, but the main sections, of course, are the DePIN section, the broader crypto market, and the global macroeconomics. So I'm going to go ahead and parse those out every day. So let's be honest. I'm on here 45 minutes to an hour every day. I know y'all are busy. You guys don't have time always to watch me, blab about all this stuff all day. So I'm going to try to make it easier for you all to pick out what you're most interested in. Maybe you want to watch all 3. I don't know. Maybe you just want to know about the DePIN stuff. That's fine by me. So I just want to make it easier for y'all. And I also created these playlists. So now if you want to, look at any project that I've covered, like for example, if we go into Hive Mapper, you'll be able to see all the videos I put on Hive Mapper. So very easy to find. I also, if you want to go to the deep dives, right? I do a number of those. You can see all the projects that I've done deep dives on. So I wanted to make it easier for you all to navigate the different videos I've put out there. Obviously I've been doing a lot more live streams, but I still am going to be, doing my deep dive videos. I'm going to be doing lots of interviews. I have some interviews coming up with some different project founders. But, as opposed to doing monthly updates on everything, I'm going to be doing most days because there's a lot to cover and things like fall between the cracks if I only do it once a month. So want to stay up to date on everything. Things are happening so quickly and moving so quickly. I think daily is pretty legit. So, all right. With that said, let's see here. I've got the quote of the day. I actually created a slide for it today. Interesting. I didn't know it had music with it. So the quote of the day was that continuous. Let me pull this up real quick because I don't know if you'd be able to hear me over the music. I didn't think there should be music. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. And I'll tell you what, guys, like this is something I've struggled with a lot. And even launching my channel, I remember like that first video, it took me forever because I was like, oh man, I want to make sure that I get everything right. Granted, there's a learning curve. I had to learn how to like edit videos and all that. Now it's like critiquing every little second, every part of the video. I finally got it posted. And it's funny because I look back at it now, I'm like, man, that video kind of looks like shit, and I'm just like, and I'm sure a year from now, I'm gonna look back at these videos and be like, man, what was I even doing? So I think we get in our own way sometimes. And a lot of times it's just about taking that first step. If you're thinking about starting a channel or thinking about starting a deployment business in DePIN, you might be thinking, well, I want to get at least 20 drivers. Just you have friends and family, start with like 1, 2, 3 people, get your feet going under you and, things go from there. So I think sometimes we just strive to make everything so perfect, but at the same time, it's like now, I look at it as long as every video is getting a little bit better and I'm improving every day, that's what matters. Taking that first step takes a lot more energy actually to procrastinate. It takes all that energy thinking about what you should be doing rather than just doing it. So for any of y'all that are thinking about taking that first step, just do it. You're not going to be perfect, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. All right, let's see here. Oh gosh, guys, by the way, big news. It's like Christmas morning. I got my Deep device. I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing an unboxing video and setting this thing up. Obviously, I'm a big believer in the Deep network. So be on the lookout for that, but very exciting stuff. I covered them a few days ago. I did kind of a summary of their project. They also posted that video on their socials, so go check that out. Let's see here. Where are we at? So we got through that. Man. Let's get into the DePIN news. Oh man, where is it? Let's see. My windows are a little bit weird today. So I don't know if y'all saw, but in the intro here, I talked about Fortune. By the way, Solana's thing is going on right now, and Ariel got up on stage today. That was pretty cool. There we go. There's what I'm looking for. All right. Yeah, I just had so many things open. So Fortune came out with this article. And it says crypto needs to fix its image or it'll stay stuck in its own malaise. And, they said here, let me make this a little bit bigger here. Let's see if I can make this screen a little bit bigger. That's as big as it's going to get, apparently. Okay. So it said, on one hand, the space has never had as strong a product market fit as it does today across a range of categories. But on the other hand, the space continues to have grift, short-termism, and a lack of broader public support. It's like, so what's going on here? Well, the fact is crypto's biggest headwind isn't regulation, price action, or even grifters. It's perception. From the outside looking in, the industry often comes off as unserious, but beneath the surface, real business solving, real problems are being built. I'm like, man, that's so true. I responded to this earlier. I was like, man, look at this. The top 10 mind share for Link. And I'm like looking at this picture and I'm like, number 10 is Ass Blaster. Like, yeah, we're a serious space, guys. We're serious. Seriously. Um, yeah, I think there is a perception problem, frankly. Sorry you asked, Lester. Maybe you're like bring really good, takes. You probably do. But yeah, I think it does come down to the fact that people need to take us a little bit more seriously. And I think that's true. You look at meme coins, look at all that shit. Like, that's not serious. But as you go a little bit further down, they said they used a DePIN as an example. They said, consider DePIN, which refers to a physical infrastructure network that uses blockchain to improve the efficiency of a network. And they call out wireless networks, energy grids, data storage, Helium, and Hive Mapper were both used as examples. Guys, this is big. This is a big deal. You've got Fortune calling out DePIN. And one of the things I'll say is that earlier today, I watched Ariel up on stage at the Solana event. And he had a lot of things to say, basically that the VCs right now, your traditional crypto VCs, they're not as interested. I guess they're getting a lot more interest from the traditional Web 2 VCs because they're seeing DePIN and they're like, hey, there's a real use case here, a real business case and revenue. And I thought that was really interesting. The other guy on stage, I'm not sure who it was. I'm going to try to clip this for a show maybe tomorrow. He was saying, look, we were really overvalued in the last market cycle, like Helium, for example. But now a lot of this stuff is super undervalued. And they're like, DePIN as a sector is tremendously undervalued right now. And I could not agree more. I know a lot of people are getting, impatient. I get it. It is tough to stay patient when you see other stuff pumping and then DePIN's just kind of like sitting there. You see these meme coins going to $1 billion market cap and we're like, man, we're like building real shit here. What's going on? Why are the prices not moving? Oh, it can be a little frustrating. We're going to get there, guys. I have full faith that is going to happen. Our time is coming. Let's see in the comments real quick. I'm going to get into some more DePIN news, but I thought that was really cool, that Fortune article. Hopefully my internet's going well. I watched I was cutting up the video yesterday from my recording for my live stream, and like the last 20 minutes of my live stream, I was like lagging, really annoying. We have Suburban. Hi. Why question mark? What's up, man? Whoops, I meant hi. Got ahead of myself there. What's up, Suburban? Super excited to hang with you in Vegas, man. Love deep. I have 2. Ooh, awesome. 2. I'm excited about my 1. What's up, Joe? I got my GeoNet device up and running. I got some GeoNet news today, actually. I'm going to cover. GeoNet's an awesome project, man. I love GeoNet. I know I talk about it a lot, but like Mike Horton's the man. They are doing huge things. So really excited to see where that project goes. Let's pull this up though. Let's see what we got here. And the market's coming back, y'all. Market's coming back. Bitcoin's leading the way, of course. Look at that. Y'all, we got above the previous all-time highs. We've broken up above. I think we're moving into like serious price discovery here. It'll be really fun to see where this goes, especially going into the Bitcoin conference next week. I think it's going to be pretty fun. So super excited about that. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people calling that this thing could just like shoot up to 120, 125. You remember, I mean, look at this chart. Like right after the election, that's kind of what we saw. It's just like, all right, let's find new support. We did drop down to 77, of course. Oh yeah. I have something to say about it. Well, CZ had something to say about that. The people that sold at 77,000. We'll talk about that in a minute. Bitcoin dominance came down a little bit. That's good. That's what we like to see. That means that alt's starting to do well. And if you look at the top 100, this is just today, guys. Look at the green. There's the top 100. 28% today, 18% today. Like this used to be normal. Like in a bull run, you're like, oh yeah, 18%, 20%. You just get used to it. I almost forgot what this looks like. It feels like these last 3-4 months have felt like a decade. I don't know if y'all feel that way too, but geez, that's how I feel. But we're starting to see the fun days again, the green days. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh man. All right. One of the things I want to cover is anyone. I'm going to be getting some hardware from them soon. By the way, I'm going to be doing an unboxing. I'm also looking to interview their team. It's a privacy network. They made some announcements today. So if any of y'all are participating in this project, they're going to be increasing rewards. So they're increasing emissions from 3,500 to 4,500 a day. They have a hardware bonus coming in. They have an uptime bonus coming in. And they said that it will essentially increase rewards for all participants. So that's cool. And they did mention here, I thought it was worth noting that even at the full rate of inflation, the circulating supply is very minimal compared to other DePIN projects. But looking at this project, by the way, they've had quite a month, up 70% roughly in the last month. So I think this project has legs. $57 million market cap. I like it. I like it. I'll dig in more on this, though. Obviously, like I mentioned, I'm going to be interviewing their team and getting some hardware. So I'll be doing a review of the hardware for y'all. Let's go. What's the next one? Silencio. This is a project I've mentioned in the past. I haven't covered a lot. Our boy William. I don't know if William's out there. If you are, say what's up. William's a big Silencio guy. It's a peak network project, but they are basically launching this interface that's going to make their data valuable, useful. So they have 35 billion geotag measurements. That's a lot, 35 billion across 237 countries with 95% precision. So built for AI research teams, urban planning groups, mobility solution providers, environmental analysts. It enables hyper local acoustic modeling. You see it on here, so you'll be able to get really, really hyper local noise pollution data. Now, some of you might think like, well, so what? Well, y'all, I didn't know this, so maybe you did know this. I didn't know this until I looked it up. But I was looking into the value in noise pollution data. Europe's been on top of this for a while. We've lagged behind a bit. But for half a century, U.S. agencies such as the EPA have deemed noise pollution a growing danger to the health and welfare. European Environmental Agency reports that noise ranks second only to air pollution as environmental exposure that's most harmful to public health. Now, they've shown in studies now that noise pollution drives hearing loss. I guess that's tinnitus. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation of that. But hypersensitivity, also cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, sleep disturbance, stress, mental health, and the list goes on and on. So, guys, noise pollution is a really big deal, and I think as they do more studies, this type of project is going to be really valuable. By the way, you can participate for free. Just download the Silencio app. I don't have my referral code on me. I'll tweet out my referral code after the show for y'all if you want to use that. And they just burned a shit ton of tokens today. Pardon my French. Sorry. They burned a bunch of tokens today. 195 million Silencio tokens this morning. And if we look at the price action, y'all, the price reacted favorably outside of this. That's a big move. That's a big move. What did they do today? Up 30% today. What? Wow. All right. Well, if you hold the SLC token, kudos to you. I have some. I do. I got my brother on this thing. He's always like collecting noise data everywhere he goes. I think he was like top 500 or something in the world. And I got rewards because of him. So thanks, bro. Let's see here. So nice to see Silencio token price on the rise. It contributed early in the project, but haven't done much since ads have gotten. Yeah, so I've heard that. I've heard the ads are kind of gotten annoying. Maybe that's a big part of their the token burns might be revenue from ads. So maybe if we voice our opinion enough on that, as they get revenue coming through the door for the data, maybe they'll do less ads. We'll see. And hit the like button. Yes. Zerp Twerp, we spoke. He's setting up a Hive Mapper fleet. We connected earlier this morning. So he's out there making moves and 150% in over 7 days. Yeah, man. Crazy stuff. These are the moves we're going to start seeing. And then I think, I know we talked about it a lot, but a couple months ago when there's extreme fear in the market, I'm like, man, this is the time that I'm buying we might look back at this time as like a generational entry. And sure enough, that's what it seems like. What's up, Flywheel Systems? He's a Helium OG. Good people. I was rocking your shirt a couple of days ago, by the way, the DePIN Rock shirt. I like that one. What else do we have? Oh, I mentioned I was going to bring up GeoNet. So they came out and announced, if you all know the GeoPulse, by the way, I did a product review on that to help validate and verify the network. You're going to be able to do it with the Solana Seeker phone as well. So pretty cool collaboration there. You might ask, what's the Solana Seeker phone? Well, that is the new mobile phone that is launching for Solana Mobile. So pretty cool stuff. Looks pretty sleek. Looks a lot like an iPhone, frankly, but looks pretty sleek. So you'll be able to mine geode tokens with that. That's pretty awesome. I need to get you some more t-shirts. Yeah, you do. Give me some more t-shirts. I'll rock them. All right. That's what we got for the DePIN news. DePIN news. We'll be covering more tomorrow. And I'm going to try to get some clips of that interview with Ariel. I thought he did a pretty good job of speaking at the Solana event today. All right. You even know about map metrics. I looked into map metrics like maybe 2 years ago. I never got into it. It's only to help me build a noise case against my annoying neighbor. Maybe. That's not a bad use case. Sure, a lot of us have that going on. I had some construction going on with my neighbor recently. That's been annoying, but I don't know. Maybe they get rid of the ads if you can sue your annoying neighbor, and because of your health condition from your annoying neighbor, and they get a percentage of the legal fees. There you go. All right, y'all. Let's get into the broader crypto news. Guys, we have a live look right now at Peter Schiff with the Bitcoin price rising. There he is. There's Peter Schiff having a great day. You all know Peter Schiff hates Bitcoin. Guys, it's happy Bitcoin Pizza Day. If you all remember this guy, 15 years ago, he bought 2 pizzas. The first, I think, known transaction with Bitcoin. Those 2 pizzas now would be valued at over $1 billion. Ouch. That's almost as bad as Germany selling their Bitcoin. I mean, I would imagine this guy didn't just spend all of his Bitcoin. He probably had a lot more. So I'm sure he's doing just fine. Can't feel too bad for him. But it's an expensive pizza. Well, it's 2. I should add 2 pizzas. 2 pizzas. CZ came out and he said, feel sorry for those who sold at 77,000. Remember to look at the yearly chart instead of the 1-minute chart once in a while. He's not wrong, y'all. When you zoom out, if it loads, I don't know what's going on with my chart. There it is. You zoom out, yes, guys. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, as we get to all-time highs, that means that not a single person's at a loss that's bought Bitcoin, you know? But yes, zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Yeah, he's not wrong. You know, that's why DCA is the play. I forget who said that yesterday during my live stream. He's like, DCA is the name of the game. There's no doubt about it. DCAing is the name of the game. More aggressively, I should add, though, when there's fear in the market. As the great Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. Cannot agree more. What else do we have here? Taiwan is proposing a national Bitcoin reserve with 0.1% of their GDP. Not a big percentage, but big number, 780 million. That's not nothing. El Salvador. Y'all remember El Salvador after the last bull run? Everyone's like making fun of them. You know, and same with the people that were like, I'm going to take my salary in Bitcoin. And whether they're athletes, I think like the New York mayor did that. And everyone's like, haha, you guys are dumb. And they're like, yeah, well, you know what? Listen to CZ. Yeah, zoom out. 386 million in unrealized profit. 132% return. We're going to see more and more countries do this, guys. And you're seeing now that these institutional buyers are having to divulge their holdings. They're all buying MicroStrategy. You know what's crazy about this too? The general public has no idea. Like we don't have retail in a meaningful way right now. Like I was asking my buddy the other day, I was like, you know what the price of Bitcoin is right now? He's like, nah, it's like $110,000. He's like, what do you mean per Bitcoin? I'm like, yeah, people have no idea. They have no idea. And you know what? And I was going to say, we should all, give ourselves some credit for being here, because the vast majority of the population has no idea what's happening. Like we are ahead of the curve. And as Michael Saylor says, you'll get Bitcoin for the price you deserve. Right? We're the ones taking the time to dig in to learn about this stuff and get ahead of the curve. We see what's coming. And so does Michael Saylor, by the way. He just never stops. He's raising another $2.1 billion. Oh, man. At a certain point, it's like, all right, man, like, how much do you need? Like, we want this to stay decentralized, too. Like, geez. Satoshi be rolling over in his grave, man. Ethereum is waking up. You've got up over $2,600. You have 15 million weekly active addresses. So things are definitely moving in the right direction for Ethereum. Momentum is building. Wake up. Yeah. Here's our boy, William. I'm not going to play the whole video because you guys need to go and follow William so you can watch the video yourself. William Ross X. All right. He's hosts a lot of spaces. He gets on my space every Tuesday. Very, very good takes. He talked about AVAX in this video. He was talking about how, yes, he's really bullish, but not necessarily because of the reasons that other people are. A lot of people are bullish because it's likely going to be the number one gaming chain. But he's like, you know what? Institutional interest is through the roof. And these institutions want to create their own layer one. AVAX allows them to do that very easily. And they still have interoperability between their chains. So he's very, very bullish on AVAX. I think he's right on point with this. And if you look at where Avalanche is today, if this comes up, 2484, obviously it's having a nice rebound here. Okay. If you look at the all-time, and I remember this because the last market cycle, this thing shot up like crazy. That was a real bull run. I think that maybe that's what's coming, y'all. It got to 123, almost $124. So that was insane. And I would argue the fundamentals have gotten better. So AVAX, don't sleep on Avalanche, y'all. Oh, that brings us to the SUI hack. All right. Well, originally, the team came out and said, please remain calm. The team is working on fixing the issue. We're not hacked. It's just we detected a bug in the Oracle. It's like we've heard this story before. That's not supposed to be there yet. And then you started seeing these things rug, right? All the meme coins. Look at this thing, 70 million and 1 million in like a minute. You have meme coins rugging left and right. And Raoul Paul, by the way, someone dug this up. They're like, he just basically recently told us that he is 70% in SUI. Like, oh man, that's not good for Raoul Paul. Ruggedy Rug says William. There's William. Hopefully you're in here. We just talked about you, man. And AVAX, your love for AVAX. We agree with you. And as it turns out, they're like, well, maybe there was a little bit of a hack. And they said, we recovered 160 million, or 160 million of the 220 million has been frozen. And I think some people are scratching their heads like, wait a minute. Thought this was supposed to be fully decentralized. What do you mean it's frozen? Right? We're going to have to see what comes of this. And this is a little bit concerning, I would say, from an optics standpoint for sure. We'll see how this plays out. But, SUI is like largely unaffected, down 1.33% on the day. So that's kind of wild to me. That it's held up so well given this. But like I said, it's a evolving story. Look at this. We got you a new follower. Hell yeah. No, Flywheel Systems is awesome. Kevin's awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to dox your name, but yeah, he's awesome. Helium OG. He was very helpful when I was setting up my Helium deployment business. Very good resource. Appreciate you, man. And then the other thing I was going to bring up is that Kraken is planning on putting popular stocks on as tokens on a digital ledger. Guys, this is what we're going to see. All stocks are going to be on a ledger. Everything's going to be tokenized, obviously. That's what's coming. So very exciting stuff, man. There's a lot going on in the crypto industry. Let's see what we got with some of the comments here. I'm a little bit behind. The first one that came up said that pool needs insulation. All right, cool. Did I miss something here? He's still tall. He's still talking about his neighbor. Wow. I'll just tell you about your insulation, man. Start using the app. You can literally report noise complaints in the app. How about that? Still looking for someone to sell me a pizza for my BitConnect tokens. Good luck. I don't know if your story will be the same as that guy's story, but you never know. You never know. It's remarkable how no one knew about It is so weird, man. Like, I feel like in the past when we would hit like 68, 69,000, a lot of that had to do with, like, remember Tesla announced that they were holding Bitcoin around the same time? It was like everywhere. You couldn't escape Bitcoin. You know, like your grandma was like, what is this Bitcoin? And this time around, like, it's just like everyone's just like, oh, cool. There you go, 111,000. We're chilling. I don't know what's going on. It makes me kind of more bullish though, because that just means that like retail hasn't gotten here yet. What do you think the price point is, guys, that we need to hit before people start really freaking out and it gets people's attention again? Because apparently we're not there. So I'm curious what you guys think that price is. I don't know. It's like, what more? Are you not entertained? Name that movie. All right, what we got here? We're gonna move into some macro news, y'all. Let's get in there. Well. You said Gladiator. You win, sir. You're right. It is Gladiator. All right. So our rent prices are dropping off a cliff right now. I bring this up, y'all, because when you look at the CPI, 42% is housing, and they use a rent equivalent. So if you own a home, they basically estimate what would the home rent for, and we're seeing rent prices drop like that. That bodes very well for CPI, which is the inflation metric, right? That the Fed looks at. Rent tends to lag behind a lot. Now, this move's been going on for a while. I covered this a few months ago and kind of broke that down, but certainly we should start to see that work into the CPI numbers soon. That's a good thing. Gas prices are projected to be at their lowest level in 22 years for Memorial Day when adjusted for inflation, we should say. But that's also a big deal. If you look at the correlation between gas prices and inflation, there's a very strong correlation, and it makes sense. Oil prices obviously coincide, but oil is used for manufacturing. It's used in a lot of our goods. Used to transport things, gas prices. So there's a very strong correlation. So as oil prices come down, generally you see that inflation also tracks that. So that's good. Ultimately, if inflation comes down, that means the Fed can start looking at lowering rates. In fact, they talked about that today. So this is one of the members of the Fed Board of Governors basically said, listen, if tariffs drop to around 10%, we're in a good position for the second half of the year, and we could start to lower rates. And I think 10% is where we're going to land, actually. And I've been talking about this probably for, I don't know, that's like 4 months, I guess, since the tariff thing started. And it's not something that I made up. I just watched the interview with Besson and Tucker Carlson. That's the example he used. Like, hey, let's say we do land with around 10%. If you watch his interviews, you pick up on a lot. And that, I think that's where we're going to land. Not with China necessarily. I think most countries, though, we're going to land at 10%. Things are tracking in the right direction. CPI is looking pretty good. You've got the Fed coming out and saying, hey, we can start dropping rates. Those are good things. All good things. He also, though, mentioned, and not so good news, that the Fed is not going to be buying bonds in primary auctions. And this is a little bit of an issue. I've talked a lot about the bond market this week, so I'm not going to get into too much detail on this. Yesterday, I did a really detailed breakdown of the Japan carry trade, the bond markets. So I have that in the macroeconomics video on my channel. So if you want to check that out, encourage you to do so. But in the past, the Fed has kind of stepped in when we don't have enough demand for our treasuries. Sounds like they're not going to be doing that right now. And that's a big issue when you look at this 10-year treasury yield. This is where all eyes are right now. We need to get this down. Yesterday, I covered some ways that we can do that. Banking deregulation, stablecoin bill, those things can certainly help. But this is going to be where all eyes are in the coming weeks and months. And that's all I have to say about that. I don't want to beat a dead horse. The other thing is that the big, beautiful bill passed 215 to 214. Very mixed feelings about this. I'm not going to get into my personal sentiment around it, but I'll say, depending on who you talk to, in which party you're in, there are definitely very, very different feelings on this, and the impact it's going to have on our national debt, Medicaid, Medicare. But I would recommend, if you have some time, read into it, read into the details. We'll have to see how this all plays out. Let's see here. Someone said, what's up with MXC? MXC is a scam, y'all. That whole thing was a scam. All right. What else we have here? There is a report, and we'll have to see if this ends up being true. Okay, so I'll say this is what Marco Rubio said. Marco Rubio actually has been pretty solid recently. But he said 12 cents of every dollar from U.S. aid reached the needy. I'll tell you what, like, there's a lot of charities that this is the same deal. People, there's a lot of overhead, people taking money on the way down as it trickles down. We'll see if there's truth to that. I would say show the receipts, at this point. I mean, and always, you got to question the reports, the statements until there's proof. Not saying he's not telling the truth, but I think we need to see more proof. Nike is increasing prices on their footwear, guys. Not as much as people would think. So if it's priced, shoes between $100 and $150, you'll see a hike of about $5. Sneakers priced above $150, you'll see a $10 increase. And I think a lot of people, when they look at these tariffs, they're like, well, $100, if they're facing a 20% tariff or a 30% tariff, that means $20 or $30. Well, the tariff is on the price they pay on the wholesale import. So, Nike's, I think they have like 65% margin, something like that. So if it's a $100 shoe, they're probably paying $30, $35 for that shoe. And that's how, this price hike is not as much as you would think. Now, Nike, companies like they can afford to eat some of that tariff. And that's not the same for all small and medium-sized businesses. So we're going to still have to see how this plays out. But they're doing this price increase all while as the consumers' expectations about their financial situation over the next year dropped to an all-time low in May, according to the University of Michigan study. This is pretty bad. Lowest in 13 years in year 2008 levels. So people are not very optimistic about their financial standing in the near term, medium term. We'll see. Maybe the tariffs won't have as much of an impact as a lot of people are thinking. We're going to have to see how that all plays out. It hasn't stopped them from buying lottery tickets, though. We like to spend money on things that we shouldn't be. That's for sure. We see that with meme coins. $113 billion on lottery tickets last year, more than they spent on movies, books, concerts, sports tickets combined. Y'all, that's ridiculous. What are we doing? And then Klarna's losses widened. So I think they had like over $100 million in losses. Klarna does the buy it now, pay later deal, and they are like doing installments on like Uber Eats, for example. Well, no one's paying off these loans. So, this is kind of pushing, kicking the can down the road, if you will. I think consumer spending has stayed strong because people are using credit cards, and now they're using these installments on things they shouldn't be spending money on. And that's where we're at right now. And that doesn't last forever, y'all. Like you can't just continue running up credit cards. Eventually, you hit your limits. So things are looking certainly good for the crypto markets right now. But I cover this stuff every day because under the underlying economy, not everything is so rosy. I guess that's one way to put it. What else we have? Implement Doge cuts now. Yeah, they did cut some things for sure. Elon had to take a step back. I think his companies were getting hit pretty hard because he wasn't as involved in the day to day with his businesses. That's one thing about Elon building his businesses. Like that guy basically slept in the office for a lot of his businesses while he was building them up. Of course, he expects his employees to do the same. I like his business acumen and his drive. I wouldn't want to work for the guy, but he's certainly pretty generational figure. That's for sure. What we got here? I'm just looking at the comments. 110K. So okay. Maybe they'll pay attention to 175. Okay. You talking about the Fibonacci levels? Yeah, so 175,000. Do you guys think we're going to get there this market cycle? A lot of people are like, hey, we're getting to 200, we're getting to 300. Some people say we're getting to 1 million this market cycle. I mean, I think we'll get there eventually. I just don't know if it's going to happen this market cycle. But what even is this market cycle? Are we still in the 4-year market cycle? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. With all this institutional money coming in and with the ETFs, we might be on a different schedule now. I don't know. All I know is that I expect it to go up a lot. And obviously, we're going to have some drops along the way, but DCA, baby, DCA. Let's get into the global news. Well. We are no longer going to be putting new pennies into circulation. This should have happened a long time ago. Okay, y'all. Like, it costs 3.69 cents to make a penny. That's worth 1 cent. It's been 19 years in a row that it's cost more money to make a penny than it's worth. That's like ridiculous. So yeah, okay, about time. What are they going to do though? That's what I want to know. Of like, are they just going to round up to the nearest 5 cents? I guess I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. If you're paying with cash, yeah, I'm not sure. Although there are pennies still in circulation, I guess that's something we'll have to worry about later. There's not making any new pennies, so it'll probably be a long time before there are no pennies in circulation. Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, now worth over $1 billion. He's the first billionaire under 30 years old that wasn't from inherited wealth. That's pretty impressive, man, to do that by the age of 30. Holy shit. Good for you, man. He said he's done with anti-Semitism. God forgive me for the pain I've caused. Well, yeah, we'll wait an hour or two. We'll see about that. Kanye has been very interesting recently. You have RFK who came on and said that up to 70% of food that most children consume contains ultra-processed ingredients. I bet he's right. Like, look, I will say RFK is a little out there on a lot of things. I don't agree with all his takes on things, particularly with some of the vaccine stuff, but whatever. I will say that what he's doing for our food system, I agree with. Like, yeah, we have a bunch of shit in our food that shouldn't be there. And you guys look at the back of the food pyramid. That thing was a scam. If you remember back in the day, what we grew up with, I mean, our breakfast alone had like 3 times more sugar you should have in a day. So getting the dyes out of the foods, that sort of stuff, like I'm all on board with that. I think that's what's caused a lot of the health problems, frankly, in our country. North Korea, I actually saw Suburban comment on this earlier. North Korea's newest warship was severely damaged during a launch ceremony, and Kim Jong-un was there. I'm like, oh, man. He said that it brought shame to the nation's prestige and vowing to punish those found responsible. Tell you what, man, if I lived in North Korea and they're like, hey, you want to build this ship? I'd be like, nope, I don't. I want to stay as far away from that man as I can. Oh my goodness. I covered this yesterday. The Golden Dome. So if you all remember, well, Israel has the Iron Dome. Sounds like Trump is wanting to build the Golden Dome over the U.S., and I think Canada is going to be involved in that. But it does include launching defense systems into space. And China's like, no, we're not cool with that. Now there's speculation as to whether they're just like saying no so that we can say, well, we're going to do it, and then they can do it now. Or if they're like, hey, no, that's definite threat. Like, we don't want you to do that. We'll see how that plays out. What do you say? We get so deep in with red, we don't stop till we see the backs of the teeth. Let's go. Let's go. Have you guys seen this? This is what I'm going to finish up with. But Google just launched this VO3 where you can make videos, AI videos, wild stuff. And this guy, by the way, I highly recommend following him. I've talked about him several times. If you want to know what's going on with the tariff situation and like kind of dig through the BS, he imports directly from China. He knows that the whole China import situation better than anybody. He goes over to China. He knows all the details. But he came on and he's like, look, are these best in class because Google has the best tech or the best data with YouTube? I think that's a really valid question. But you see some of these AI videos that are coming out. They created this pharmaceutical ad. And this person said, I used to shoot these for $500,000 and made this for $500 and VO3 credits. Guys, like this is pretty wild. There's a lot of people predicting, I agree, that we're going to have movie stars that are AI movie stars, that they aren't real freaking people. That is, it's kind of wild. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's pretty crazy to me. Oh, that's what I got for the show today, guys. So we went just about an hour. Appreciate you all for joining today. We'll have a lot more to cover tomorrow. Of course, there's always news to cover. But make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, comment, make sure you follow me on X and YouTube. But thanks for the comments, y'all. Have a fantastic day. Go get some fresh air, get outside, move the body. Cheers, y'all.